Welcome back. You're tuned into Bazaar Morning Call. As promised, let's get to the top stocks that we're going to be tracking for you today. CNBC-TV18's top 10 stocks come up for you on the screen, and our researchers are joining in. Manglam joins in first up to tell us about Godrej Consumer. Manglam?
Well, for Godrej Consumer, it was a largely in-line set of numbers because the company had prepped the street with its fourth quarter update itself, though there were a few positives there as well. What's good? Volume growth at 6%. The street was working with a number of 4 to 5%. The EBITDA came in at 760 crores. The street was working with a number of 730 crores. So to that extent, even the margins were slightly better than expectations. The India business revenue growth came in at 7.5%. The Africa revenue as well grew about 16.5%, so that's a positive. What's not so good, the revenue by itself at around 3578 crores is slightly below street expectations, and as is the net profit because of an exceptional loss of 31 crores, and the overall revenue was lower largely because of Indonesia revenue being 1.2% and Latin America sales being 12% lower on account of currency depreciation. The company said demand conditions impacted by headwinds in urban consumption, but there are a few bright spots. Palm oil prices are off highs, and they are doing good volumes in household insecticides as well as home care. So the strategic outlook for FY26 extremely crucial. See the stock mild green today.
All right, got that. Manglam, thanks very much. Let's talk about some oil and gas names, HPCL and Mahanagar Gas. Sudarshan, tell us more.
Morning, Surbhi. So it's green for both MGL and HPCL. For HPCL, like other oil marketing companies, HPCL too has reported earnings for Q4 that is much better than estimates. Both refining and marketing segment have reported earnings that were up sequentially as well as year-on-year, and EBITDA was supported by lower operating expenses and higher marketing inventory gains, and because of that you are seeing EBITDA that has come in at around 5,244 crore against expectation of 4,822 crore, and margin too has improved. It has come at 4.8% against our expectation of around 4.4%, and strong segment that refining for HPCL has helped company report gross refining margin of $8.40 per barrel against our expectation of $5.46. Now coming to MGL, recent price hike that company has taken, it has helped company to report improvement in the margin. Talking about the headline numbers, revenue was up 6%. It has come at rupees 1,865 crore against our expectation of 1,784 crore. EBITDA has improved by 21%. Margin has improved and has come in at 20.3% against our expectation of 18%. And because of the price hike, you are seeing an improvement in EBITDA per SCM, which was up 20% sequentially against expectation of 5% growth. And because of that, EBITDA per SCM has come in rupees 10 versus 8.30 that company had reported last quarter.
All right, Sudarshan, very helpful. Thank you very much for that. Let's now get to a couple of more names. Radico Khaitan, of course, we spoke with them just now with regards to the India-UK FTA, but numbers also came through, and then there is Kansai, Nerolac. Magalam, take it away.
Well, we start with Radico Khaitan. Incredible numbers coming in. 21% growth in their revenue. The EBITDA has actually grown by 45%, taking the margins all the way up to 13.5% from 11.5% itself. And on the back of the net profit has surged 71% at around 92 crores. Overall volumes are up 28%. Prestige and above, that's premium products, volumes are up 17%. And the regular volumes were boosted by, the change in Andhra Pradesh. So as a result of which, there was a big jump. The debt also reduced year on year, so that's a positive. Add to that, we have the tailwind coming in from the UK-India free trade agreement. See Radico Khaitan in bright green today, but not so much for Kansai and Nerolac. Why do I say that? Because, the revenues grew just about 1.5% on the back of volatile input prices and volatile forex. The EBITDA margin came down by about 90 basis points, and the net profit declined by about 10% as well. The company said that they are looking at tight liquidity and lower spending in the category, but there is gradual recovery in decorative. Automotive is doing well for them, but raw material as well as forex continue to remain volatile. See some red on Kansai Nerolac.
Okay. All right, Mangalam, thanks a lot for that. Well, let's hop across to Abhishek. He's here to tell us about Paytm and Piramal Enterprises. Abhishek?
Paytm, the numbers were below analyst estimates. Revenue came in at 1,911.5 crores versus a Motilal Oswal estimate of 2,100 crores. Now, they reported a net loss of about 545 crores versus Motilal Oswal estimate of about 110 crores. And this loss was higher due to one of the exceptional items in the P&L. The contribution profit that soared up by 11.7% on a sequential basis. The GMV that that has slowed down. The growth rate over there is just 1.2% on a sequential basis. Total transaction is up 16.5% YOY and close to 7% sequentially. Piramal Enterprise, strong disbursements growth over there, 16.65% sequential growth in disbursements is seen over there. AUM growth remains steady at 17.2% YOY and more than 10.5% sequentially. However, the PNL was weak, so the NI growth was just 2.7% quarter on quarter, which suggested that the net interest margin might have been under pressure on a sequential basis. The PAT has come in at 102.4 crore. However, that is on account of the fact that they have used AIF provisions which got released into the PNL worth about 370 crores. Asset quality largely stable. Gross NPA ratio at 2.84% versus 2.85% in the previous quarter. Back to you.
Okay, all right, got it. Abhishek, thank you very much for that. Let's talk about KEI Industries, and it's a hat-trick of good earnings. RR Cable, yesterday we got one more, and today it's KEI. Yesterday was Polycab. Upasana, take it away.
Certainly, Surbi. Well, good morning. Starting up with KEI. Well, company has reported good set of numbers. The revenue growth was much higher than the estimates. Now, this was because of the company's key segment, that is cables and wire, which reported a strong growth of 34%, and it outperforms its peers such as RR Cable, Havells, Polycab that have reported their numbers in Q4, and also much higher than the street estimates of 18% growth is what they were working with. Now, EBITDA and EBITDA margin was largely in line, but PAT was slightly higher than the estimates. Now, talking about FY25 revenue growth, it stood at 20%, which was slightly higher than the guidance given by the company, that was around 17 to 18% in FY25. Now, coming to Q4 numbers, the revenue growth stood at 33%, which was mainly driven by company's cables and wires segment, which the revenue growth was quite high at 34%, and margins also largely stood stable at 11%. Now, this growth in cables and wires was mainly driven by low tension, high tension cables and even house wires. Now, coming to overall EBITDA, it saw an uptick of 18%, margin saw a downtick of 60 basis points at 10.3%, and PAT saw an uptick of 35%. And lastly, coming to gross profit, it fell by 130 basis points to 23.7%. This is likely due to lag in the passing of commodity prices. So all in all, strong set of numbers from KEI Industries.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that. The other one, of course, is BSC, which reported numbers. By the way, NSE also reported numbers yesterday. Vamakshi is here with details on BSC, the listed one. Vamakshi, over to you.
Well, absolutely, Prashant. Good morning. BSC reported a strong set of numbers, while the performance from NSE was rather weak. But let's focus on BSC then. BSC reported a revenue growth of almost 10% sequentially. Revenue came in at 847 crores. It's 10% higher than the consensus estimates, and this growth is largely being driven by the transaction charges, which were up nearly 20%, and other operating income, which was up nearly 12%. On the flip side, treasury income declined by nearly 9%, and services to corporates took a knock of almost 17%. The EBITDA margin saw a sequential improvement of around 58 basis points. The EBITDA margin now stands at 57.2%. It's, however, lower than what the street was penciling in. Now, this time around, there was a SGF reversal of almost 109 crores as compared to an SGF contribution that the company made in this previous quarter, and given that there has been a net profit of almost 493 crores, this is an uptick of almost 125% sequentially, largely driven by the SGF reversal. The operational metrics, the average daily notional turnover saw a dip of almost 35% sequentially, but the daily premium turnover, on the other hand, saw an uptick of almost 35%. Overall, when we look at the numbers, it's a beat, going with the green for BSC.
Right, and the market share in index options as well, going up to around 20%. And now, with the recent changes, they're hoping to make some inroads into the cash market segment as well. We'll keep an eye out on that one. Valuations not very cheap, but going with green on that one. Let's hop across to Ria. She's here to tell us about Prestige Estates. Ria?
Well, Prestige Estates will definitely be in focus today. They've achieved rupees 3,000 crores of sales for their project in Indirapuram. Remember, this was the first launch of the company in the NCR region, and this is within a week of its launch. The first phase GDV for this project is over rupees 9,000 crores, and after the second phase will be launched, the total GDV for the project is expected to cross rupees 12,000 crores. Now, remember, after the company had announced the launch of this project, Morgan Stanley had upgraded the stock to an equal weight rating with a target price of rupees 1,370. CLSA had also maintained its outperform rating on the stock with a target price of rupees 2,380, saying that they believe that the company can sell around 60 to 70% of this project in NCR in FY26 itself. Today, after this announcement, the management has said that they have significant launches planned across the country in Bangalore, Chennai, NCR, Mumbai and Hyderabad as well. So positive triggers for the stock, and we're expecting it to open in the green today.
All right, Riya, thanks very much for that. Quickly recapping our list of stocks to watch. We're looking at Godrej Consumer, Radico Khaitan, HPCL, MGL, KEI Industries, BSIC and Prestige Estates on the back of positive news flows on the green side. Kansai, Nerolac, Paytm and Piramal Enterprises are stocks that could open in the red because of some negative news flow around them. Take a very quick break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll, of course, discuss some stock developments with Siddharth Khemka and also get you the latest on ground in terms of the security drill and other defense-related developments.